Guys, there's only a few days left to get my limited edition Spooktober t-shirt drop. These will be gone by midnight, October the 31st, and they will not be available again. So if you want one, head on over to traplord.com or hit that link in description and grab yours before it's too late. Cheers, gang.
Yo, you tied Juice WRLD in the 1 hour freestyle.
That's crazy. Hey, Juice WRLD, I'm coming for you, boy. There's an hour. He did an hour, I did an hour. We might both have to come here at the same time and go back and forth.
And Smokepurpp, why should people care about Smokepurpp? Why should people care?
They shouldn't. I'm trash.
Smokepurpp is a man of many names, apparently. In the past, he's gone by Lil Purp, Lil Water, Young West, Young Vegas, and Lil Home Invasion. But you may have heard him more commonly referred to as Trash, Garbage, Smoke Fart, or simply the worst rapper of all time. Or simply Lil Pump's blunt roller. In many ways, Smokepurpp's career has been a true roller coaster ride, only a lot less entertaining. With him reaching the dizzying heights of a clouted rapper faster than he'd have ever expected, but with all of that clout comes the pressure to live up to expectations. I know it's not hard when your fans expect little more than simply keeping your eyes open while you prop your Xan-addled body up against the mic stand. Yet with such low expectations, somehow after reaching the top of the SoundCloud rapper league, Smokepurpp managed to let his entire fan base down and piss off the whole hip-hop community in the process. If Lil Pump is the poster child for talentless rapper getting way more success than he ever deserved, then Smokepurpp is the poster child for ignorant rapper who got sent to the big time by a label only to see his fans turn their back on him when he needed their support the most. So today, we're going to take a close look at the triumphant rise, embarrassing fall off, and promising comeback of Smokepurpp. Smokepurpp started producing beats as a young kid, but considering just how whack his beats were at the time, nobody wanted to jump on a Smokepurpp beat. So, unable to find rappers to collaborate with, Smokepurpp decided to become the whack rapper he was looking for. And boy did a 14-year-old Purpp come through with the goods, beginning to rap under the name Young West and uploading a handful of very lo-fi freestyles on YouTube.
Young West, bitch. I'm freestyling like a motherfucker. I don't even know what I'm saying. And
while Smokepurpp's lyrical ability doesn't seem to have progressed on from this point, one key factor that did spur on his lyrical ambitions in the rap game was the addition of his now infamous sidekick. Eventually bored of rapping on his own, Smokepurpp convinced his childhood friend Gazzy Garcia, who we now all know as Lil Pump, to start rapping with him. You know what that means? Smokepurpp is literally single-handedly responsible for giving the world Lil Pump, so frankly someone needs to go back in time and terminate Smokepurpp so Lil Pump never freaking happens. So Pump and Purpp's skills on the microphone may be questionable, even to this day, but what isn't questionable was their ability to crank out catchy, hard-hitting songs that would captivate the interest of a young SoundCloud audience. And as time went on, while never lyrical, Pump and Purpp's songs got catchier and catchier, and the beats they were rapping over got harder and harder. I mean, let's not forget, around this time in the mid-2010s, all kinds of weird, wonderful, and hard-ass songs were picking up steam on SoundCloud and making no-name artists megastars in a matter of months. Lil Yachty, Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Peep, Ugly God, and Young Gravy all came up through popping off unexpectedly on SoundCloud. And of course, who could forget our boy XXXTentacion? You know, the guy with his stupid hair. In fact, Smokepurpp was early to connect with fellow Floridian XXXTentacion, with Purpp's second song ever being a collab with X titled Live off a lick. So, in spite of any musical talent, Purpp was determined to get his mid-bars and beats in front of rap fans. In fact, the first music video that we saw Smokepurpp appear in was the track It's Nothing in 2014 with seemingly deranged rapper Lil Ominous. Ominous by name, ominous by nature. Funnily enough, Lil Ominous is actually Lil Pump's cousin who had originally introduced Purpp to Pump. And while that song is complete trash and Smokepurpp's appearance on it is downright incomprehensible, I mean, he basically spends his entire appearance in the music video just waving around a comically small gun. Lil Pump, I call that a micro pump. Anyway, in spite of this trash on-camera debut, Purpp soon realised that the key to growing in the rap game was the music video. So throughout 2015, he continued recording and dropping tracks on SoundCloud. Songs like Samsung Jumpin', which quickly became a fan favourite, and Pole with Swag Hollywood, which Purpp said was his first song to pick up traction outside of his native Florida. And so, with a few catchy tracks under his belt in 2016, Purpp got to producing music videos, later saying that every time he dropped a video, he would see his fan base growing. One of his earliest on-camera attempts was the Way and Shit freestyle, a track that was later properly named Money Counter, where we saw Purpp in the studio flexing once again with Lil Pump and Lil Ominous, waving around small stacks of money and medium-sized packs of marijuana. Seen a lot of 5s and 1s there, boys. Now, this song might not be good, but at least it's coherent. In fact, fact, Money Counter kind of proved that Purpp could make a catchy song, put together a decent music video for it, and keep pushing his career forward every time he dropped. And so that's what he did throughout 2016. At the end of January that year, he dropped a music video for the track By My Lonely, where Purpp and his boys while out in a pathetic looking bedsit whilst watching old Gucci Mane videos. I mean, it's basically what Chief Keef video would look like if he had a lot less mates. And way more shirts, I guess. And of course, it wouldn't be a Smokepurpp video without him waving around another tiny gun. In fact, I swear, every time young Smokepurpp dropped a music video, he must have spent every single streaming cent that he got investing in a slightly larger gun. Anywho, as 2016 continued, Smokepurpp's buzz kept on building. In June, he dropped the visuals for the song Walk Hard, doubling down on his proven formula of flexing in a dingy room holding another small gun. The track Walk Hard is of course a love letter to the beloved Wok brand of cough syrup. But wait a minute, Purpp, that's activist lean. How am I supposed to believe anything you say now? Also, there's this bit of the video where Purpp tucks a lean bottle into his headband, which I just think is fire. So by July 2016, it was time for Purpp to take things to the next level, dropping the Cole Bennett directed music video for his track Ski Mask, which quickly became his flagship song. The music video was particularly memorable for Lil Pump's appearance, dancing around with a large pump pointed directly into his mouth, and unfortunately not pulling the trigger. Anyway, at this point, it was clear that Purpp had graduated from Lil Pumps to big sticks with the dicks and the tits. The track Ski Mask blew Smokepurpp up in a way that he had never seen before. And you know what the first thing you do fresh off getting a bit of internet clout is? No, I'm not talking about hooking up with Black China. I'm talking about hopping on over to the No Jumper podcast to do an interview with Adam22, soon to be Dadam22. Purpp's No Jumper appearance had his clout building to crescendo point, and Purpp continued to capitalize on that buzz at the end of 2016 and into early 17 with fresh drops like his track Caro, where for once he seemed to forget his tiny gun and they had to draw it in post. He dropped the track F a Swisher with Xavier Wolf, over on Lyrical Lemonade, where we once again saw Pump, Purpp and Wolf waving weapons around in yet another dimly lit room. Another music video looking like that sleepover at that kid your mum warned you about's house. But it was in March 2017 that Purpp would release his first bona fide hit, the track Glock in My Benz, which Purpp had initially teased around mid-March 2017, going on to be released at the end of the month. Glock in My Benz was the first time that Smokepurpp really came onto my radar. I first heard the song on the radio when I was vacationing in LA, and I gotta say I couldn't stop bumping that track. The hook was catchy as hell, the beat was hard. I've got to admit that I was Team Smokepurpp from that point onward. And you know who else was Team Smokepurpp? Interscope Records. The same month that Smokepurpp teased the track Glock in My Benz, he also ended up signing a major record deal with Alamo through Interscope Records. In fact, according to Purpp, Todd Moskowitz of Alamo basically signed him purely off the back of privately hearing Smokepurpp's upcoming track Audi, just as Smokepurpp's SoundCloud clout was reaching its peak.
Todd Moskowitz, like, he saw. So he didn't even sign me because of Ski Mask. He signed me because he heard the preview to Audi. Audi wasn't out yet.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't sign me because of Ski. He heard the preview to Audi and he signed me and then he told me that it's a smash.
And even if you believe that Audi was one of the most garbage, pointless, and void of lyrical content rap songs ever made, you can't deny that Todd Moskowitz at Alamo was right on the money about Audi being a certified hit. Because they got Smokepurpp into a deal in March, and by May he was dropping Audi and reaching the pinnacle of his career. This was Purpp's big debut commercial single with the label, and it did not disappoint. To date, Audi has racked up 77 million plays on SoundCloud, 167 million plays on Spotify, and 64 million views on YouTube. But strangely, coming out in 2017 with all of those views, Audi only just went platinum this year. So listen, no matter how much you dislike Purpp, his stupid music, or his ridiculous haircut, or his punchable face, or just everything bad that he's caused to happen to the music industry, you can't take away from the fact that Audi was indeed a huge hit that genuinely convinced a lot of people that Smokepurpp was worth listening to. And for a moment, it seemed like none other than Travis Scott was convinced too. As in September 2017, seemingly out of nowhere, Smokepurpp popped up on Twitter to FaceTime with Travis Scott.
Bro, you wanna know what's funny too? From the first day, like, Todd signed me, I told him, I'm like, bro, I wanna end up in Cactus Jack, bro. That shit crazy. Nigga, Cactus Jack shit! Cactus Jack shit, Ash get it!
Yes, it seemed like Purpp had been given a Cactus Jack chain, with many reporting that Purpp had indeed signed to Travis Scott's label. And sure enough, when Purpp's debut commercial mixtape Dead Star dropped, at the end of that same month, we saw Travis Scott popping up with a feature on the track Fingers Blue, a track which later got a music video in February 2018, where we saw Purpp wearing that Cactus Jack chain. Now, it later surfaced in 2020 that Purpp had never really signed to Travis's Cactus Jack label, with Purpp denying that he'd been dropped from Cactus Jack in an IG comment, which seems to suggest that perhaps this link-up between Scott and Purpp was one of these fake promotional deals that the label set up to try and align a new artist with a more established artist label. This is kind of like what Warner Music did with Pill and Rick Ross's Maybach music back in 2011. But anywho, whether or not you think the Travis Scott Association had anything to do with it, when Purpp dropped his debut project Dead Star in September 2017, it was reasonably successful, hitting number 42 on Billboard. In addition to Travis Scott, the tape also came along with features from the likes of Yo Gotti, Chief Keef, Juicy J, Drum, and of course Lil Pump. In many ways, this really was the golden age of ignorant SoundCloud rap. Pump, Peep, XXXTentacion were all coming through for the first time. The music scene was exciting and there was a very special place for Smokepurpp. And off the back of this successful project, he kept on pushing his career forward, dropping music videos for other tracks off of Dead Star, like Phantom, Krispy Kreme, and Bless Yo Trap, then moving into 2018 with the release of his next commercial full-length project, Bless Yo Trap with producer Murder Beats, hitting fans with a promotional single 123 and doing a Nardwuar interview before dropping the full project in April 2018. Bless Yo Trap hit number 40 on the Billboard charts in the US and number 30 in Canada. And this in many ways was the high point of Purpp's career album-wise. He'd had a big hit song with Audi, chart success with Dead Star, he'd topped that success with Bless Yo Trap, but unfortunately, this is the point where trouble would begin for Purpp's career, as from here on out, an arrogant Smokepurpp's antics would cause him to become a hate figure for more conscious hip-hop fans. Possibly partly because of the effortless success of his mid-grade music, combined with him getting more and more strung out on drugs and unable to really control his career. This, people, is where the fall-off begins. Much like Lil Pump, there became a time when Smokepurpp started to become more known for his antics than his music. He famously started beefing with the conscious rap community at large in April 2018 when he led his fans in a chant of "Fuck J. Cole." Now, to be fair, this wasn't unprovoked, as only days before, J. Cole had gone at Purpp and Pump on his diss track 1985, where he seemed to drop a hefty dose of shade on the young duo, suggesting their music lacks substance, saying they're just riding trends and they're likely to go broke and fall off once those trends die down. Very fair points, which clearly were not taken to heart by Pump and Purpp, who went on to drop their devilishly ignorant single Nephew that summer, a track which, in spite of J. Cole's strong opinions, was a sleeper hit and became Purpp's next biggest song after Audi. Today, Nephew sits over 106 million spins on Spotify, 66 million on YouTube, 26 million on SoundCloud, and going gold. But Purpp didn't have long to celebrate this W, because within a month of having this hit, he would be taking different kinds of hits. After roasting motivational rapper Russ and putting a picture of his sister as his profile pic on Instagram, a video soon emerged of Purpp getting the beats from a bunch of Russ's goons backstage at a festival. But at the same time, it wasn't all else for Smokepurpp. The same month as he was being hit in the face by Russ's goons, his day one brother Lil Pump was releasing a hit in the form of the raunchy track I Love It. This was Kanye's biggest chart hit in years, going number 2 on Billboard. But even more interesting, this track saw Smokepurpp getting a hefty writing credit, and I assume a very substantial behind-the-scenes bag.
Yeah, it's because it was nothing but the 808.
nothing.
Sorry,
Yeah.
and I just went in there and I just did my thing. And
So you put the magic on it.
I put the magic on it.
However, it seemed at a certain point all of this behind-the-scenes success was leading Smokepurpp on the road to ruin, with this period at the end of 2018 being when Smokepurpp got so heavily addicted to prescription drugs he had to spend a brief spell in rehab.
Bro, I actually went to rehab, bro.
Really?
Yeah, I just never told nobody.
When was that?
This is the first time anybody here. Yo, when was that, Robert? It was like this time last year.
How'd you go? How long you go away for?
I was supposed to be there for like a month, but I escaped. I escaped, nigga. I took my bags. I went to the airport. I said, fuck this shit, nigga. I'm out, nigga. I'm out this bitch.
How long did you last?
For like a week.
He later spoke with high snobiety about his struggles with addiction, saying that he initially quit doing Xanax but then got hooked on Percocets and Oxys, at which point he stopped even caring about the music, with people telling him he just wasn't there anymore. And so, at the end of 2018, in spite of so many golden opportunities falling into his lap, Smokepurpp's health and the momentum of his career seemed to be in peril, with Purpp soon moving into self-destruct mode, in the start of 2019 even having a public falling out with his day one homie Lil Pump, dissing him, saying that he deserves credit for writing hits like Gucci Gang.
Lil Pump, I'll put you in the studio, nigga. Boy, you better stop playing, nigga. I wrote and produced all your first songs, nigga. Fuck you talking about, nigga? Man, listen. I'm not playing with you no more, nigga. I need all my money, all my royalties, man. I need all my money, nigga. Gucci Gang, nigga, that was my song, nigga. I gave you that song. I gave you your first big hit, fuck, nigga.
Hey, who knows, maybe that was all fake for clout. But apparently by April 2019, Purpp was clean off of the drugs and trying to get his solo career back on track. He began a promotional run for his upcoming Lost Planet EP, first appearing on Sway's Universe looking much more healthy than he had before. But it was on this show that the seeds of trouble were planted, as Purpp introduced his new artist, TTOKT, who Sway duly put on the spot and encouraged to do a live freestyle. To his credit, TTOKT spit a pretty good freestyle off the dome, which wasn't necessarily lyrically impressive, but a genuinely passable freestyle, proving that he had the rap skills to step up to the plate on call.
The diamonds be sitting in my watch cause they lazy. I'm doing dirty dancing like Patrick Swayze. These niggas fuck niggas, yeah, they fugazi. They talking that shit, they ain't doing it. She on my dick, she sucking that shit and she showing it.
But this attempt to put his man in the spotlight, Moonlight, quickly backfired on Purpp, who was then duly put on the spot himself and also asked to freestyle, with mixed results.
Hey, I'm in the trap, clutching my strap, fucking a bitch with my socks on. I hit from the back, when she ain't looking, you know,
After this fumble, Purpp went into a pre-written verse from his then unreleased track Chopsticks, before later going on to rap more pre-written bars from his phone, which seemed to go so badly he started digging for better lyrics up his nose. Now, Purpp should have learned his lesson from this incident and known to stay the hell away from freestyle open mics. However, unfortunately, a few days after this, we would see the most iconic and dreadful incident of Smokepurpp's musical career. I'm of course talking about his infamous Tim Westwood freestyle. This was an appearance that was so darn bad that it got 49,000 dislikes on YouTube, and Tim even had to turn off the comments. Frankly, Smokepurpp owes damages to the entire hip-hop community for this awful freestyle. Purpp is jumping from beat to beat faster than Selena Powell in town for All-Star Weekend, and in the process, Purpp ruins nearly every single good hip-hop song of the last 5 years. He did French Montana's Unforgettable, which was so bad that I wish I could forget it.
I know they say it's toxic and deceiving, but I know it can change.
He did Yo Gotti's Put a Date on It, putting a date on the end of his career as Today.
I think I feel that coochie, I put my ring in her coochie, yeah. I know she felt that shit.
He did Meek Mill and Drake's Going Bad, a performance that stunk so much it smelled like a corpse was going bad in the trunk.
Still fucking yo bitch anyway, still fucking yo bitch any day, but I'd rather just hit her from the back.
And then, of course, came the XXXTentacion covers. Covers which were so awful they would have had X spinning in his grave so fast he would have dug all the way to China.
Ooh, I ain't seeing this, afraid to let go. Give me my perkies, boy, don't you let go.
Of course, we all know the most famous bit of this freestyle session was the Spotlight Moonlight bit. This whole mess is frankly proof that the last thing that Smokepurpp needs is the spotlight. Because if you didn't already hate Purpp and think that he was the most terrible thing that had happened to hip-hop in history, it would be nearly impossible to watch this complete abomination and not think he was total garbage. But what was more ridiculous than just how bad this freestyle was how oblivious Purpp was to how much he sucked. Proceeding into the interview segment with my Uncle Tim, who in very British fashion oversaw Purpp talking shade on Juice WRLD's freestyle by comparison with excruciating politeness.
So what do you think about my freestyle?
Praise.
What do you think?
Relentless.
Okay.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Pressure.
Okay. So Juice WRLD, I just tied you. I just tied you for the 1 hour freestyle.
Purpp released his song Remember Me the same day as the Tim Westwood freestyle dropped, a seeming attempt to diversify and make kind of more sung poppy type songs. This was a good reinvention, but unfortunately the damage was already done. Fans were more likely to remember him for his trash freestyle than his experimental new song. And clips of Purpp's embarrassing fart of a freestyle were beginning to spread through the hip-hop scene faster than Selena Powell's Okay, I'll stop. After that debacle, Purpp ended up dropping his Lost Planet EP in May of 2019. Being a smaller project, we didn't really hear much about the sales figures for this, but it was at least supported by music videos for tracks like Repeat, which was then followed up in May with the hard track Double featuring NLE Chopper, which for the record now has 50 million views and is one of Purpp's biggest hits in recent history. And that track was followed up with the announcement of his next extended project, Dead Star 2. And it seemed for a moment that the revival of Smokepurpp was imminent. Sober Purpp seemed to be making much more thoughtful and hard songs than he had in the past, and while a few generic promo tracks like Walk on Water and Stevie filled the quota for ignorant trash rap, in November he was dropping the much more listenable unlistenable Dirty Dirty with Lil Skies, yet another sleeper hit which has close to 10 million views on YouTube today. And then in December, Purpp reached for the biggest shortcut that he could muster up, making a sequel to his biggest hit to date, dropping Audi 2, a desperate attempt by Purpp to return to his glory days, which ended up getting pretty mixed reception. And a week after Audi 2, he finally dropped Dead Star 2, which was billed as his debut album, with his previous outings only being considered mixtapes up until this point. So this should have been a big release, an album which apparently Purpp had even spent $2 million of the label's money buying beats and features, the most of which didn't even get used. And this is all including a Kanye verse, which Ye ended up canning because in the time between it being recorded and released, Kanye had found Jeebus and no longer wanted to release any music where he was swearing. That track was called No Problem, and fortunately it did eventually get leaked on YouTube. Anyway, Purpp described Dead Star 2 as his best work, but fans decided instead to hand Smokepurpp his biggest L, because the album did very poorly compared to his previous outings, only hitting 137 on the Billboard charts and 86 on the Canadian charts. A small embarrassment, sure, but Purpp kept things positive and kept on moving forwards, dropping hard tracks like What I Please with Denzel Curry, Off My Chest with Lil Pump that came along with a pretty damn good Office Space inspired music video. He had It's Whatever, Tide Pen with Jack Harlow, and the track Pop Shit where he made light of his drug addiction. Purpp was dropping a lot of music during this period, some of it good, and all of this work he'd been putting in was not going unnoticed by fans who begun to feel that Purpp had gone from falling off and overhyped to underrating and deserving of more attention. Combine that with the fact that the view counts for these tracks that he was releasing were incredibly healthy, which is why it's so goddamn surprising what happened next, because Purpp came through with the release of his June 2020 project Florida Jit, and the sales were frankly Florida shit, because in spite of all of the hype that he had built up in the run-up to this project, it was the lowest selling project he had ever released, apparently racking up less than 5,000 sales. Shit didn't go plastic, shit didn't go wood, shit went double dust. Shit went triple lint picked out of Lil Pump's butthole. Naturally, Florida Jit didn't land on any charts, unless of course you count the Billboard Hot Existential Crisis charts. But in his defense, Smokepurpp did attempt to walk back the monumental failure that was Florida Jit, reiterating to fans that this was a free project, suggesting that people had misconstrued this 5K figure, which was apparently his pure album sales, suggesting that including album equivalent streams, he had sold closer to 14K. A little bit of a saving grace, but frankly the damage was done. At this point, Purpp was taking one of the most monumental public L's in rap music history. Now, I don't think Purpp is done, of course. Throughout his turbulent career, he has consistently managed to rack up multi-million view counts for the solo songs that he drops. He's genuinely still capable when it comes to making catchy bangers that people can get lit to. But one thing is for clear, Purpp is not, and probably never will be, an album artist. And so Florida Jit will go down in history as one of the most embarrassing rap flops the game has ever seen.
Thanks for watching, guys. Shout out to all the patrons who you can see on screen right now, and don't forget, you only got 6 days left to cop my limited edition Spooktober merch. Real talk though, once they're gone, they are gone. It's your only chance to get one. So if you want one, head on over to traplaw.com or hit the link in description down below and go and cop one of those. Thank you so much for watching, and peace out, guys.